The Palestinian like to do this.
This is why kids love to make them at this stage. Have to say, if my kid was doing this, I'd be saying, can you be a little bit neater, please?
Hi, I'm Sami.
I'm Tara.
And we wrote this beautiful book called Palestine. And today we're gonna be cooking a few recipes from the book. We're gonna start with a chicken dish, which is called Misurkin. Chicken with caramelized onion with sumac. And also we're gonna do a tahini sauce to go with the chicken, which is kind of essential when you do this. And we're gonna do Tara's favorite, which is the gem lettuce.
Favorite little gem lettuce. So we've got smoked aubergine yogurt, smacked cucumber in parsley and mint, and then my favourite shatta, which you can make with either green chilies or red chilies, sort of dotted on top. It's a beautiful salad.
And we're gonna show you also how to make Tahini Rolls, they are like kind of almost like a cinnamon rolls you have for breakfast or snack or dinner or whatever you want to.
It's gonna be delicious. So the first thing that every Palestinian pantry needs is good tahini. Good being tahini that pours. You turn it over and it doesn't fall out. You've got the wrong tahini.
The other ingredients we have sumac. Sumac is berries that they harvest dry and crush. It's kind of tart, lemony.
Astringent.
Yeah, and you basically, people use it instead of lemon. Za'atar is very essential. Za'atar is, people think it's a spice, it's actually a herb. They dry it, they crush it, they mix it with toasted sesame seed, a bit of salt and sumac. You see all the toasted sesame seed as well.
And again, exactly, it's lovely to have this next to your salt and pepper. You just sprinkle it on all your eggs, your roasted vegetables, your grilled chicken, your fish. It's completely addictive.
Palestinian olive oil is very important. I mean, it's not widely available, but if you do find it, it's a really nice thing to use. It's kind of earthy, it's not so smooth like the European variety.
So we're going to do the chicken Misurkin, which has been marinated in all the spices that we've talked about here, the cinnamon, the allspice, the sumac. So this you could do a day in advance and it can just sit marinating, or you can just do it a couple of hours in advance. It doesn't need the overnight, does it?
No, not really. I mean, the spices are quite strong. So, in it goes, and just remember to put the timer for it for half an hour. Continue now with the onions. Originally, Palestinians use white onions. I mean, the Palestinian onions are slightly kind of pinkish. They're almost like shallots. So red onion, I think, will be better. People in the Middle East cook in quantities, and the reason they do it is just because you never know who's gonna come and eat lunch with them. It's kind of an open house and everybody's welcome. All I need to do basically is just kind of thickly slice them like that. We're gonna fry them in olive oil for about 15 minutes, or sometimes they need a little bit longer. It's important that you cook the onion properly because they're quite nasty if you don't. So I'm gonna do now, we have a bit of oil here in the pan and add in the pine nuts. They're gonna take a couple of minutes. It's important not to throw them into very hot oil because they burn very quickly. They'll be still cooking because they're still warm. Now we add in the onions. You don't need to watch them all the time, but from time to time they need to be kind of stirred. So as you can see now, the onions are really cooked down, and we added to them the cumin, a bit of salt, pepper, and lots of sumac, and they are ready to go. I'm gonna just transfer them into a bowl because I don't want them to be cooking more.
Can you smell them through the camera?
It's wonderful.
And then all this lovely sumac oil here will drip into the taboon bread, and that's just a key part of the experience. Taboon bread in Palestine is full of little dents in it where the oil can actually pool in. So this is a condiment. We're going to make it tahini sauce. We're going to have it so that people can put it over their chicken, but with any Palestinian meal it's just a lovely thing to have.
Tahini sauce is really, really simple to make, and you can see Tara mentioned that it needs to be quite smooth and runny. Add also a bit of cold water and a pinch of salt. And at the beginning it kind of looks split, and sometimes it goes really hard because of the oils and the cold water. but just keep stirring it, and it all kind of come together, and you end up with a very smooth kind of creamy paste. And you can see, I mean, it's so wonderful. I mean, it literally took seconds. Just a pinch of salt to season it. And that's it. It's done. It's ready. So the chicken, now it's ready, and you can see. And also we can smell it. It's so wonderful and caramelized.
Beautiful.
So I'm just going to leave it here. And we can start assembling the dish. We basically start with the bread. I'm going to use my hands. It's the best way. And the idea is that, you know, you add as much of the onion on the bread with all the oil. Piece of chicken. If you serve it to a lot of people, I would probably cut the pieces in half, so it's easier for them to eat it.
And the dish does also work if you want vegetarian option with big chunks of cauliflower florets or aubergine wedges.
Pumpkin can work, celeriac, the rest of the onions, all the juices also,
Definitely.
because they're full of flavor.
Best bit, and it all just soaks into the bread.
The pine nuts, and finish it with parsley, more sumac.
Maybe do a drizzle. Beautiful.
That's it. Cut a piece of the chicken and put it on a piece of bread and eat it this way.
Watch out for your shirt.
Yeah.
Alternatively, you can eat it with a knife and fork.
It's something that the Palestinian cooks all the time, and especially around, you know, the olive oil season, because the oil is so kind of thick and grassy, and what they want to celebrate it, so they do this dish.
Now we're going to do the little gem salad. It looks like a rather major operation, but in fact, it's a salad that you can make all the various elements in advance, and then you can just assemble it when you're ready to serve.
Let's talk about the shatta quickly, because it's a process that takes longer than, you know, the recipe kind of says. So you need to basically slice your fresh chilies with the seeds and everything, and then add salt to them.
2 tablespoons of table salt, so it's a lot of salt, and that then sits in the fridge or at room temperature for 3 days I've done. And now I'm just going to blitz up the whole thing and add about 5 tablespoons of cider vinegar and a couple of tablespoons of lemon juice. Put it in a jar, seal with olive oil, and it'll last for
2 days.
Longer than
2 days in Tara's house.
Measure it.
Yeah. And that's it.
So yeah, mix it together, and then you put it in your jar, and then just seal it with olive oil on top. Burning aubergines is one of my favourite things to do. My poor children wake up every morning to the smell of burnt aubergines rising to the top of the house. I literally wake up in the morning, put on the kettle, put on the flame, and just put a couple of aubergines on. And whatever I'm cooking that day, I'll just add it to whatever soup I'm making or whatever. I just put it on my open flame like this. But if you want to cover your surface with tin foil and just make little holes to pop through, and it'll just help you when it comes to cleaning, because it can get a bit messy because they're on the flame for about 15 minutes, and then you turn them over with your tongs, and sometimes if they get bruised, if they get a little bit of a hole in, then it can ooze out. So I'm not that house proud, so I don't mind. If you've only got an induction stove, that's fine. You can just put them in a griddle pan. Make sure the ventilation's on, because they get super smoky, and just put them directly on the griddle pan, and they take a bit longer. They can take 30 minutes, 40 minutes. These are the aubergines once they've been done. So these have been on the open flame for about 15 minutes. And I always tend to do these a day ahead, and then I just give them a slit down the middle. But you just open it up, get a spoon, and then you just scoop it out. And don't be worried about getting some of the black bits in there. It just tastes super smoky and grilled, so it doesn't need to be completely precise. But also make sure you get everything really scraped down, because all the best bits are the bits that are right by the charred skin. So now we've got our burnt aubergine, and then we're going to mix that with yogurt and some tahini and some lemon juice, a bit of chopped garlic, a bit of salt. Blitz that up in the food processor for a couple of minutes. So just half a garlic clove. So we're just going to add that in there. But you could do it with, you could use olive oil instead of yogurt if you wanted to make it vegan. So with the cucumbers, you can either start with the regular English cucumber, and these have got watery seeds in them, unlike the smaller Lebanese cucumbers, which are a bit firmer. If you start with this, it's completely fine. We're just going to peel it and then slice it lengthways and then just scoop out the watery seeds. And this is a lovely salad either to have by itself, or you can sprinkle feta on it, or you can just have it as a side to chicken or fish or whatever you're having.
I'm doing now parsley and mint, just kind of picking them. So they will go into the cucumber.
I didn't smack it. If you're going to smack it before you chop it. In life, as with the cucumber. So again, you can make all these elements in advance, and then before serving, then it's all ready to assemble.
Yeah, so we start with the aubergine, and you want to kind of touch every piece of lettuce with all the elements. Be generous, because we have got a lot of lettuce here, and this one will feed probably 4 to 5 people. The cucumber, ideally you want to leave them for a couple of hours. Basically just kind of dots, little dots around, and if you like it a bit more spicy, you can just add more. And more, and that's it. Adds a bit more smokiness to the dish and
colour. So if you haven't got Haifa, either nigella seeds or black sesame seeds will do the job. They look beautiful.
And yeah, here it is.
There we go. That's better.
The idea is you grab a piece, or you can use a fork and knife and just eat it.
And then you'll find that people start off very polite, just having what comes on their thing, and then before you know it, they're just trying to find the burnt aubergine yogurt, which is the highlight.
Okay, now we're gonna do the tahini sesame rolls. They're nice for breakfast or just as a snack. I have here yeast and sugar, and I'm gonna add warm milk to it, and you just need to leave it to kind of infuse for a few minutes. And in the mixer bowl, I'm just gonna add the flour.
Bit of salt.
Yes, pinch of salt. And the milk, yeast. And an egg. And let it kind of mix for a couple of minutes. Then I add melted butter.
That's 75 grams of melted butter, so it's super rich dough. So now, once it all comes together, you then put it in a bowl that's lightly oiled, turn it a couple of times, and then put it in a warm place for an hour until it almost doubles in size.
Lightly floured surface. Just kind of bring it all together. And the idea is to make a large kind of sheet from the pastry. Add the tahini. Think of it as a kind of peanut butter. Spread it all over the pastry.
And then we're going to sprinkle it with a mixture of cinnamon and sugar, and then you just let that sit for about 10 minutes until the sugar looks all sticky. This sits for 10 minutes, and then we're going to roll it up from the long end into a long sausage and then cut it into 10 buns. So the sugar is divided by 10. So we went to this great guy called Kamel Hashalom, and he was a real artisanal producer of tahini had a little shop out of West Jerusalem, and never met a guy more passionate about his product. He was in Nablus for about 3 years, perfecting the art of tahini making and halva making.
And he still go to Nablus to learn kind of more about it.
And his tahini, I mean, he sort of talked about it like it was his baby. He sort of gently rocked this thing and sourced the best sesame seeds from Ethiopia, the Humera seeds. And often tahini, when it's in a jar, it will split and all the oil will come to the top. But his tahini was so pure and beautiful. There was just no splitting. It was quite unbelievable. And there's a great photo in our book of this kind of jar, this sort of tap that you literally switch on, and this tahini drizzles out once all the sesame seeds have gone in to the top. And it was just fantastic.
The Palestinian like to do this. Which is very...
This is why kids love to make them at this stage.
It's kind of...
if my kid was doing this, I'd be saying, can you be a little bit neater, please? And then we're going to just brush them with a little bit of egg yolk and sprinkle them with some sesame seeds, which then look great. And then they're into the oven for 18 minutes, and you're good to go.
And they go to the oven now. They look great, and this smell is delicious. Look how beautiful they are. Ideally, you just want to wait for a couple of minutes just for them to cool down, because tahini can't kill properly. If you want to have a look, kind of how nicely gooey and delicious they look.
All the sugar's disappeared.
Yeah.
Right.
Delicious. So nutty and warm, and there's some, we added a lot of sugar, but actually it doesn't feel very, very sweet.
So those are just 3 of the recipes in Palestine, and we're so excited about the over 110 recipes that we've got, and we hope that you enjoy cooking them. Let us know if you do cook them, what you think of them, and enjoy.